let's get started with something fun and something funny. As you guys know, Andrew Cuomo, Curtis Sliwa on the Republican ticket, and the current mayor of New York, Eric Adams, are running up against our boy Zohran Mamdani. Now, Zohran Mamdani is, according to the new New York Times Siena poll that just came out, basically beating everybody else on every single metric, every possible demographic by a landslide, or at worst, tied for the first in his weakest categories, which is older people. Okay? And what has Andrew Cuomo, who's supposed to be like the guy that is going to try and beat Zohran Mamdani after he lost in the primaries, what has he thought about doing as a line of attack? What has he thought about? Attacking Zohran Mamdani over, who's the current frontrunner? His connections to a popular Twitch streamer who has been supporting him from the initial stages of the primary. That connection to said popular Twitch streamer, me, has actually played a role in him beating Andrew Cuomo in the primary. Not like a super significant role, but somewhat of a role. So not sure exactly why he thought this would be a fantastic own. Okay? But that's right. Andrew Cuomo has decided to play the association game with Zohran Mamdani. Who are those other people? Victims of Hasan Piker? I assume, I don't know anything about this press conference because I didn't see it. I only saw this originally, and it launched me into orbit. But I suspect it's like 9/11 first responders and their children or something. But in any case, it is pretty funny that America's most important city's mayoral race has gotten so completely out of control that they're basically trying to do like internet beef. That is where we're at. Lamau, I work in office with David Friedlander. Yeah, shouts out to David Friedlander, who apparently asked Andrew Cuomo at this presser, because he's the one who actually took the photo and sent it. But shouts out to David, who asked him about his horrible numbers. Because as soon as I saw this, I immediately sent this photo to a bunch of my friends and said, "This is fantastic." And then I also tweeted, "Great campaign, Mr. Cuomo," with this New York Times Siena poll that just came out. Zohran Mamdani leads by 22 points in a four-way general election. Mamdani is most trusted on affordability, housing, Israel, Palestine, and crime, taxes, dealing with the Trump administration, leads all racial groups, plus 4 out of the 5 boroughs. If the field holds, he wins. So while this is going on, and this is a horrible day to be Andrew Cuomo, horrible numbers coming out, what is he choosing to do? This. If this is your exit ramp, if this is what you think is going to, move your numbers, improve your numbers, if this is what's going to carry you across the finish line, you are delusional. Because 2 reasons. Okay, 2 reasons. Number 1, nobody knows who I am, you idiot. No one knows. I try to repeat this to like extremely online people all the time, people that come in here, and even members of my own community. I'm like, guys, for the most part, people know me as like, oh, that progressive guy. Okay, that's it. If they know who I am, especially amongst like the normie crowd, they just kind of know me as the progressive guy. Okay. And they have a rather positive association with me. Now, of course, there are a lot of negative associations with someone like myself. Negative associations coming from incredibly Zionist groups. If you are super, super invested in Israel, then yeah, you're going to know who I am and you're going to have a negative opinion of me. If you are a dedicated Fox News watcher, you might have maybe seen who I am and you might not like who I am. But even then, it's not super relevant overall. And then, of course, last but not least, it's like the extremely online people, but they never go outside and they never vote. So it doesn't really matter. So now you'll be the 9/11 guy that these New Yorkers? No. And he is so desperately trying to farm this shit and trying to do this in a way. But here is the funniest thing. In order for this if this were to ever become a real problem, which it's not, right? All Zohran needs to do is say, I don't know him. And I did a podcast with him because he has a massive platform and it worked. And I don't know him and I don't like him. Okay, what now? You know what I mean? Oh no. All he needs to do is Jeremiah Wright my ass in the same way that Barack Obama did to Reverend Wright. Also, I do personally find it funny that this is another op that I have that is a sex criminal. Oh my God. He was already asked about this during the primary and he said he will go anywhere. Yeah. Regular New Yorker seeing a picture of Hasan. I don't even know who you are. Yeah. Like, can you imagine a regular ass New Yorker being like, wow, this guy sure sucks. Can't believe Zohran did an interview with him. Like, the reason why this is such a stupid line of attack is because either nobody knows who I am, and that's the overwhelming majority of normies, okay? Or the people that do know who I am overwhelmingly are on the younger side. They're already very pro-Zohran. And part of the reason why they're pro-Zohran is because they might have even seen Zohran and myself communicate on this fairly successful Twitch stream that we conducted early on in his campaign. So who is this for is the question I have. Like, I'm imagining a guy, okay, from one of these like demographics that Zohran is like really cleaning, right? Like a 34-year-old who's like, I really love fast and free buses. And I really think that it's cool that Zohran was saying like, I'm not going to go to Israel. I am the mayor of New York. Why would I go to Israel? I thought all that stuff was cool. But wait a minute. Am I seeing that right? He's hanging out with Hasan Abi Piker? Well, that's it for me. Time to vote for Andrew Cuomo, I guess. Like, that's so stupid. And of course, he had been asked about this already by, once again, a Zionist group that was, hammering this early on in the primaries. And he said, I'll go anywhere. I'll talk to anybody. So ultimately, this is just red meat for my haters online who will be like, your association is a negative one with Zohran. It's like, well, I already associated with him and he won the primaries. I did my job. Okay. He was in a crowded field. He was in an incredibly crowded field. And myself and many others in our little sphere of influence recognized that he was a cut above. There were plenty of good candidates there as well. But my job is done. We already brought him into the primary. Okay. So from this point on, it's just not, you can't feel like, oh, your association is like hurting his reputation. It's like, no, he's good. Now, of course, the other side of this, yeah, too late, too little too late. But the other side of the story that I think is of course, interesting is that if we were to talk about associations, Andrew Cuomo is associated with the entirety of the Trump orbit, Trump himself, and also Benjamin Netanyahu. Like, what are you talking about? There's no comparison. Oh, wow. This guy hung out with the Twitch streamer who said America's actions in the Middle East was what caused 9/11 to happen, okay, in 2019. Wow. You got him. So ultimately, that is nothing in comparison to Andrew Cuomo's long list of genuinely vile associates, especially from the perspective of New Yorkers. But yeah, Can't Ever Die says, they're calling this the greatest campaign ever devised. Campaigns like this have a base of entirely 60-plus-year-olds who will see this and immediately move on. The average Cuomo voter has never heard of any leftist online personalities law. Exactly. All this does, for me at least, is increase my visibility. It doesn't do anything to Zohran in general. And if it ever even got to like a serious point for them, all he could do is just say, I don't know him. I'm not associated with him in any way. And that's it. That's all he has to do in that situation. Now, I don't think he should do that. Once again, it's in a way, it's not that different from, the whole, like, not backing down from the globalize the intifada message, right? Because like his original assessment there was correct. Like this only becomes like, I mean, it'll never become like a real problem, but this only becomes even like a blip on anyone's radar if you make it. Because this is not a real thing. This is not a real point of contention, right? It's not a real point of contention at all. You're killing it. You're cooking. And it's, your association with a massively popular streamer that is massively popular by the standards of like a lot of Zohran's base of support is not going to be a negative for you. Okay. Hey, you know that massively popular streamer who's beloved by millions and resonates with Gen Z? He supports the other guy. Yeah, this association is not a negative one. It's a positive one. And I'm not just saying that because I'm me. I think it only becomes an issue if you make it an issue. But he might. Who knows? I mean, he has appeared squeamish at times when it comes to like Israel related things every now and then because he thinks that will stop people from yelling at him. Hasan, I think it's a big issue for Zohran. It's not. The reason why it's not a big issue is because most people don't know who the I am. And the ones that do are already like either door knocking for Zohran or have voted for Zohran. Like it comes down to this. And I mean this. I am not glazing my own self when I say this. I think I am a more popular figure in New York City than Andrew Cuomo. This is not to say that I am more known than Andrew Cuomo. Of course, Andrew Cuomo is a much more visible, much more known person, but he's also a hated person in New York City. I am not. Do I have my share of haters in New York City? Certainly. But the number of people who like me is far larger than the number of people who hate me in New York City specifically. And I would say that it is a reversal for Andrew Cuomo. A lot more people know who he is, and a lot more people don't like him than do like him. And I would go so far as to say that if we went band for band in terms of how many people would be willing to go out to a rally or a meetup that I set up, me versus Andrew Cuomo, there would be more people showing up to mine than his.